Good night, Naoto. Hello.
Good night. I'm gonna go to sleep now.
Yeah, man. This
Well,
is hello, everyone. I guess this is chat. This is public,
all right.
right?
And
This
then
is
I have to wear a suit and tie. No. Um, oh, the connection
it's
is not
like
connection is not
Naoto
good.
has a face of all day. It happened today.
Hmm?
Naoto has the day it happened already,
Yes,
and I'm in
yes.
my glory.
Yeah, true. You're so behind.
Yeah, I'm in my glory. Uh, but the last time I like because sometimes like I'm like around 12, like the last because I proposed to Naoto to do this chat. Um and I'm like 12, around 12:30 working, and I thought like, should I send something to Naoto, like like if you want to chat, but maybe it's like it's like 7 in the morning for you. If it's 12 here, it's 8 already for you, right?
Oh, like midnight is age.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe next time I will just try it. You don't have to answer if you answer it because maybe you want to do it.
yeah, it really depends on
Yeah.
the day. But it's also tricky, like at night, sometimes like when I go out, most likely I come back really late. Like when I go to Tokyo, for example, because it's quite far. And if I have dinner with someone, then it's most likely I come back around 11 or around midnight.
I'm trying my new lights.
I was thinking like I should really look for those like nice lights because there's like a district where they sell electronics.
Which ones?
I mean, just like there's a place where they sell LEDs, and I should look for things like that if they have it. I mean, of course, you can get it on AliExpress or whatever, but just to
Yeah.
it's nice to do some shopping.
Yeah, but these ones I found very just handy to carry because they're very small.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, let's talk about business. So the last time we talked with it's weird. I was thinking today that it's weird because we used to, if you think for instance when we were in PAF, like which is this is very strange. Think about it. When we were in PAF, almost every conversation that we have, it was recorded, like serious conversations, like work
Yeah,
related
yeah,
conversation. And we were in the same space, right? For
yeah.
10 days. That's and if you think right now, the last time for some time, we having just every time we meet online, we are working on installation, so we are not doing a chat. We are just working.
Mm,
So
right.
it's weird. You see what I mean? It's weird that when we were in physical presence, then we were recording constantly, and now
Mm.
that we are online, we're not
And we're
recording.
not doing it separately
It's
in a
very,
sense. I mean,
very
sometimes, yeah.
curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I found the workflow is a little bit hard when like, well, I would say not necessarily we have to be in the same space, but if we're in the same time zone, of course it's easier. And
Yeah.
right now it's a little bit harder, but but that's what it is. We knew it, so
Yeah. Yeah, but it's more related because of the energy, for instance,
yeah,
like, yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's
So
talk about like I wanted
where
to
should we
talk
start
about
with?
now. Yeah, so then we are working with in the installation that we are proposing for dance house in January. Normally,
Well,
it should
it's
happen
not announced yet, so
it's not
but something like
announced
that.
yet.
Something
By the
like
way,
that.
yesterday I asked also directly in an email to Motion Bank, is the CCL gonna happen? Although I just need to have this confirmation, like, yeah, these festivals. Anyway, so we are working for this festival in Dance House in Germany, and we're working in a hybrid installation way of the best practices. So it's an interface. It has it's a web interface with some physical thing, I guess. Um, and then one of the things that I proposed this talk with Naoto is because it seems like also come as a part of the last week we applied some months ago for a grant in Ars Electronica, and we passed through the process of selection until the final. So we were just part of the fourth at the end, but we didn't were selected. And the feedback that they give us was that the application was too much I mean, that was my translation of that, is that it was too much focus on the technology and the research of the technology, because I was proposing to research the deep space, which has like a full immersive 8K monitors all around the space and motion capture systems. So that was my focus, I guess. And in some house they were saying that there was some lack of depth in artistic concept or something. And so I mentioned this because yeah, so but basically is that it seems to me that so we have developed a language, so what I will call like a new art medium or a medium on its own. We speak of these things, but then the question is then what do we want to, if we have developed or created a language, what do we want to say with the language, or what we don't want to say with the language.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was really distracted because you said about ours, and then I was like, oh, I heard that I got notification for the ICLC, the conference. You know,
Did you get
the one in
notification
Chile.
from that?
And it's weird. Like they said, they wrote to me an email that it's updated on the author console on the web platform where you submit the paper. And I went there and I just checked now, and like, yeah, I think we got in, also the one with Floor. But we can or we can talk about it now or later, because
When I see of what is that you're talking about?
so it's also the web installation that we proposed that like as a part of the conference to show it.
The one in Chile, not the one in
In Chile.
Barcelona, not ICEA.
No. It's
Okay.
a live coding thing. It's not ICEA that we are still waiting for, I think. And that one you have the access to the
Contact. Yeah, I have the contact. That's why I thought it was
the platform. It's like, yeah, it's so confusing. Anyways, but actually it's nice that they also wrote us review. I mean the comments.
Some feedback.
Yeah. Is this ours? Yes. I don't know if it's okay to say it. Yeah, I think it's okay. Like
Yeah,
probably.
that would be nice because we are talking about this thing.
So there's only one section that has the like long text. Other parts are like, is it okay or not? And they say yes or no. Okay. So there's this question, please provide some comments on the relevance of the paper to be presented. This can be in the form of the expectation of discussion paths to be unfolded during the actual presentation. Comment. This is an interesting proposal which prevents an archive of materials produced through interactions via online between two artists. They use different technologies and produce a hybrid outcome which constitutes a sort of log of their activities. Remarkable is the conceptual aspect which states the notion of a queer form of conversation between technology and bodies. Since this is a strong point in the proposal, I would suggest to provide the links to make the work accessible through our conference website and at the same time, a suitable text for the visitors. It would be great to get the text both in English and Spanish. Por favor. With smiley.
Yes, that's nice.
It's good, I think.
Yeah, that's very nice.
There's another one, another reviewer. an interesting proposal in its way of approaching action, art, and digital happening in a queer form. The use of text chat seems to me a way of approaching the written code as a way to activate that pixel space, and in its limits, puts it in dialogue with the life form. I don't really understand, but it's a positive feedback, and I think it's good
Very
that
complimenting.
people get the idea of the queer form of conversation between technologies and bodies, which is, I think, it's a really cool part.
Yeah.
Which kind of relates to what you were just saying, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking that for me, it's like I'm thinking that, like, I think I feel like in between, do we have to say something, like, do we have to say something, or do we want actually not to say something? I'm constantly between these two things, but at something that I was not thinking too much, like, then I was considering the last week, is that even if you don't want to say something, then it has to be clear for the viewer if it's to share. We're talking about here not what we call the sandbox, but it's just the space to share, like, say, and the interface of a text or a workshop could be have different, or the hybrid performance, different forms. There is not the sandbox, which is, the sandbox is great, and the space that people like Olivia or people who are somehow with the knowledge or this micro niche target group that we said, of people who code but also maybe are interested in motion or in digital art, they can go and understand and find interesting. That's the best, that's the practices that we do, and we should keep it like that, because it's just, it works. But then the other aspect in trying to communicate with other people, they don't so the other, like the installation and its other ones, then I think it has to be clear what it's about. If we don't want to say something, so if the problem is like, do we want to say something, or we don't want to say something, then this idea that we don't want to say something, it has to be also clear, not mix it. You see what I mean? Or that's what I'm thinking.
Mix
That
what?
In blending something that is not really clear, like if or we said when we saying something is trying to then to have some clear approach, then we define what is that approach, but then it's clear that it goes to one direction. There will be like not the natural process will be somehow doing that, I guess, or then denying somehow to have some statement as a, it's almost like, because then we deny to say something, then that becomes the statement somehow, the denying to say something.
Yeah, like
Then that has to be super clear.
Yeah.
And so then going back, I think maybe to the installation, for instance, I was thinking this idea of, I don't know, yesterday I went for a walk, and then I see these installations. They were in the park, like were like Christmas lights, but now became the city investing, create like small light installations around some pathway. And then you see them, and you see that some of them that are nicer than other ones, like right away from aesthetic point of view. But also there are some ones then in a way that, I don't know, they can do it, they do a little bit more than just, I don't know, it's just, I think it's difficult when, well, like if you think in the interface, for instance, like, and we want to say it, I think we want the people to understand, or the people to get something, right? It's difficult to make from the interaction when the interface something, yeah, something out of it, more than just going and playing with filters and going away. Like,
Yeah.
for you know, for instance, like if there's some, like just some text, you put some, I don't know, a poem or something already. I mean, this is not, it's just an example, you know. Already you put you already you're telling the people around what they have to think, right? You put them close to a place that they have to think something. But also we mentioned in the development of the practice and in the text that I wrote for my master's, then I wrote that it's unconscious that also we don't want to intervene with what the people have to think, right?
But that's, yeah, sure. Yeah. Like how we did with the like long streaming, for example. It's not that
Yeah.
we want them to watch it like 7 hours straight, but like they can come in and out to find what they like or not. But
But then, yes,
yeah,
yes.
I guess like there are two different things that we're yeah, like for the installation, I think we're probably taking a different approach, or we could take ideas from this how to say, known imposing way of showing stuff, but yeah, but I don't know how. But I think that's, it's possible, you know, like it's not mixing two things, but we just like take ideas from how we did with the streaming or the practices.
Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, that's true. Like I was like also trying to go to my notes, and because there is so much material, like, because what I'm talking about like here, and that was part of what I proposed to do this chat, is that somehow is that we go back and we start thinking what is that we want to like say. Yeah, I think that's what is that we want to say. um and I think in a process, for instance, with installation, we could do this parallel process of like developing and trying to keep an eye on reflecting how to, yeah, how to say something uh with the interface. Yeah. Yeah.
But I just started to think something. I don't know if it's interesting, but like at this moment, like for example, like I think I don't know if he wrote to both of us or just me, but one of the person we sent this prototype. So we sent this prototype to a few people already, and one of them said, you know, something is not working, basically. Like it was
Nothing was
blank,
working,
you
right?
know, nothing was working. And I was like,
Yeah.
shoot, like, you know, when I saw it, like I was like, yeah, we have to test like a lot of devices and make it, you know, solid, just like how the web development works. You know, it's really hard. But so that was kind of in my head for the whole day, because today is already close to ending in Japan. So I had this for some time.
And the funny
And
thing was to Stefan, because and Stefan is the one who was in
yeah,
charge.
yeah, exactly.
And
I didn't say it, but yes, he said it. But now I thought, like, you know, what if we think in a way that it doesn't have to work, but it's still interesting? Because, like, you know, I like, as soon as I started this, like I thought, you know, people will use Safari because, you know, a lot of people use Mac these days, and, you know, it's a default browser and it's really shit for the web developers, but still people use it. But, you know, we can't force people to say, you know, use Chrome, use updated version of whatever. But what if we make an experience in a way that it doesn't have to work, but it's still, you see something? Because that's the core of the practice, in a way, that, you know, it doesn't have to work.
Yeah, I see what I mean. Yeah.
I know it's tricky, but maybe there's something. At least I think the way of thinking that, okay, I have to test every device and, it has to work perfectly is not how we should
The
approach.
core. Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah. This because becomes something else. Yeah, I know.
exactly. While we keep the design aspect of it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which
I
is
mean, yeah,
not,
exactly.
which
Yeah, one
is,
thing it
we
will
can do it
not take
parallel.
away the other one. Like for
Exactly.
sure,
It's
like
not.
if we are developing a website, it somehow, yeah, it will not take away the normal steps of just developing that, but it will be different to keep the focus in making it perfect, and like all the steps, like because then all the energy goes to that. For instance, like when I was sending,
Mm,
I just talked with a friend of mine when then he asked like, what do you want me to know? What do you want? What do you
mm,
want to know? And I said like the only thing, they said like the idea is the main idea that you move within the screen, but for the rest, I don't want to tell you anything because
mm,
that's why we are searching for feedback, basically. Not to tell, not to tell the person what the person should do, but the
mm.
person just experience. That's why we're logging also these things, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But that's interesting because I think, um, I don't know if we talked, but at least I think when you mentioned about gamification, because that could be a way of, making the experience like somehow you have to achieve something, as a video game, or, you know, and through achieving something you discover, or you kind of, not force, but make yourself doing something that we intend.
you know what I was thinking also, that in somehow it seems to me that like I have been mentioning with to you that I see that I'm trying to find what is the gesture that we are doing, what we do practice, and then like basically in a way is I will be interested in if the user can be queer with the computer, in the sense
Mm,
uh, that is not so straightforward that I come. Um, yeah, somehow let me put maybe an example that I think it simplifies this. For instance, if it's like the interface is as it is right now, and it's and from time to time in not really order, there are some words happening, like turn around, but there
mm,
is a story going on, for instance, like, so then the person in a way that is focusing doing something, and at some point the computer say look to the right, and then but like glitching, but basically what I'm trying to say is glitching the focus, the attention that the user has with the computer,
mm.
you know
Yeah, yeah,
because then it will be queer in that sense. The person is
yeah,
not directly moving the mouse, but it will be querying in some task that is trying to do somehow or find out, but at the same time is glitching his brain from things that are happening.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what
No,
like an installation that I was thinking of that when I was working yesterday, that is this the place that we are working is a different one. I would say it's more complicated than an installation, because we don't have the physical things that you will have in an installation, where let's say you have immersive space, you can demand all these things. At some point when I was finishing also my career, and then I was like between, like I thought like I want to just actually stay for a little bit in with web interfaces and not go to the installation, just for my school, like in my final work and stuff like that. And because I I'm bringing this back here because I'm saying that it should be possible, or we are in the space, basically we are in the space of trying to developing how to make in a way three-dimensional this flatness of the two dimension of the screen, how we can get something more than just like I come here, I do
mm,
something
yeah,
and I go, as a
yeah,
gesture.
yeah. No, that's like exactly why I thought about, in the last time, like it's not uploaded, but I said, what if, let's say the mouse is somewhere else that you have to go? I mean, it's not the most obvious way, but like
Yeah.
how do we break the way like people come to the computer and work with it?
Because that's at the point that's the queer thing. I mean, in yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's the
Yeah.
queerness of the communication between the body and the computer.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Yeah. And I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting because it's not something that we're gonna like find out and like we did this installation. We developed like a unique recipe to queer the interaction with the computer for other people. Mm.
And the example you said about move to the left, or just giving some kind of instructions. I remember there was not project from Lisa and Danielle, but the guy they were working with, actually that was CCL in New York, like 6 years ago. But one of them was doing that exactly, like something like that, but not with a screen. Like he's like really good at iOS development, and basically he was making like app that tells you what to do, and then actually that was synchronized with other phones. So well, synchronized or sometimes not. So it makes a choreography. That's the idea. If you have a few people reacting to the instructions together, which I really liked. I mean, it's a different approach, but you know, just saying as a reference.
Yeah. What I like from this like sort of idea is because I was thinking also in something similar. What was it? What I like is the idea of like the person understanding is doing something, and there is something that is taking the person out from the task the person is doing. So if the person has to or want to try to, I don't know, move because there are some buttons or some sliders. So intuitively, by intuition, we'll try to just do these things. Will be nice if there is some disturbance in that cleanness, like because I think disturbing that. So yeah, I think somehow it could be kind of a cue, like if there is some clean or good web design, say it, or user interface, intuitive enough, and so on. And at the same time, because this is so clean, this is what actually Ivo Dimichev is doing in dance, by the way. It's like Ivo Dimichev or
Force, yeah.
So yeah, so this guy,
he's like a star at the improv dance.
Yeah, improv dance, exactly. So what he became so really good like at doing this, like he's in doing dramaturgy, because basically he has such a clean space, and he's so minimal that he just can get naked and do like I don't know, crazy things that are pushing. Let's say other person doing that or another stage will be too much, but because he's so clean, he can disturb the space until the limit. And I think that analogy could work for us. Like if we make in space that is like a clean UX somehow, then the space can be disturbed. And then I think in that dialogue between the clean and disturbance, I think the art, let's say, can emerge from that, from doing this that is very clear, and this is some disturbing.
I see. It's a bit like what like Joanna is doing with the web design, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
somehow, yeah.
She has like really clean, but sometimes like things are like crooked, or something is moving that is not supposed to move.
But I think this has to be very similar to, for instance, when we talk about like when Flor de Fuego, when she works in 3D, for instance, in a 2D space, we talk about in my head it works in the same way, because And I said that it works when she's doing almost nothing. Let's say it's just a torus and or something very minimal. But once many things start happening, then it distorts and becomes something that for me is not so interesting. So I mentioned that this is similar because like what Joanna is doing, because there is something with the screen that it's so small, like the computer is so small, there's so many things around, the letters are, the fonts are so well defined, like that there's just the softwares and the system is the best created to do word processing or like to do straightforward things. So it has to be lean, it has to be clean, right? So once you I mean, very, very fast, you can just make a mess of it. Maybe a very flat mess. That's the problem. I think that's the difference that you have with the physical world, that if you can make a mess, but you have layers, like you can perceive the layers in that mess. But I think in the computer, if I think for you can have like a somehow fast, you can have a mess of flattened layer.
No, sorry, I was thinking about something else. Well, it's related. Because I was thinking this installation, I mean, this artist who graduated from our school, I think, he's really he makes installations and it's so smart. One of the works he did is, it's just a room with an automatic door and people enter and the door closes. And you notice that the door won't open. That like whatever you do, like it doesn't open. If you come closer, it doesn't open. And people get panicked. And then I think there's a sensor tracking people. And the way it opens again is you don't just stay and you don't do anything and it opens again.
How the door opens?
Like I don't exactly know what's the condition, but what I heard is like you just don't do anything. Like just just don't walk around, just stay there. And at some point it will open. Which is really nice because it's kind of, I think it's also about affordance, that it gives an affordance because it's an automatic door. So you expect that there's a sensor and you come closer and it will open, but it's not something like that. And it's completely, in a way, it's opposite, that you just don't do anything and it opens, which could be, I mean, I can like directly associate with our installation. We could say, there's like a bunch of buttons and it doesn't do anything, for example. But if you wait for like a certain amount of time, it starts doing something, for example. It could be interesting and it kind of fits with what we do. Although I think it's a bit too much of a copy, but but maybe it's nice to test.
No, I think it's nice. Like I think also because we can test now. So
yeah.
Wait, I wanted to say something about that. What? Yeah, like for instance, like the reference, like in the example that you give is it was about it works because there are clear reference for somebody to so you come to a door, that if you're come close to the door, somehow the door will open regardless. You don't even have to think about the sensor, but you know that this door will open. And so when you want to leave the space also, you will know that normally this door should go. So you have this reference in your head, right? But if we think, for instance, if you put it in the interface and with the glitches, let's say, there is no reference for the person more than like the buttons are reference. The buttons are things that the people know. The slider is something that somebody will just intuitively just like try to move, right? So those are common, those are common denominators, or there are things that will communicate with the person something.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking that perhaps could be just verbs, like somehow if there is some text appearing in, that could be, there is an input where the people can just type verbs, and then can just, the people can write or run, write, screen, turn, just verbs. So actions, basically.
Okay.
I was just thinking that and then maybe say that there is a database with some minimum, some things like, but then it's open for the people to start typing, and that it goes to the database, and the database, let's say there is some text coming, and just with a verb from time to time showing up, like turn right, turn left, leave the room, like any of these kind of things. What I think could be interesting is like to record the interaction of the user somehow there. So then the people somehow they give some input, and that input is used. So basically everybody who's intervening with that installation from different places will add actions that other people will read, and then just appearing as a text from time to time, just a text that is almost not related whatsoever with what it with the interface. Says exactly as what we have right now, and then we have turn around, jump, scream, left the room, and so there is exactly as it is. But then from time to time, every 20 seconds, there is one of these 4 words appears and disappears. So it's up to the person who is using if the person wants to do something with the word or not, or just ignoring the word, because it's more like a pop-up. It could be a pop-up, like it could be this idea that you were saying, like it could be a pop-up. It just appears for just a few seconds and disappears. The person can ignore or can really try to do that. And also then that the same person can write an action, maybe.
I don't know about like this instruction kind of idea. I mean, how do I say it? Well, I just don't like it to have like instructions showing up on the screen, because for me it's hard to relate. I mean, I always think, I'm not the person I'm gonna actually do it. And it's also, it's too direct in a way. Like if we can do something with the interface, I think it's nicer. But also, we can combine it. I was thinking, let's say if it's jump, we could make the sliders or buttons jump, maybe, instead of the person jumps. And then, what is I don't know, this is maybe a bit too nerdy, but what is if you as a person have to be a slider or something like that? I don't know, this is a bit too it's not something I wanted to for this installation, but yeah, like I feel like if we say the instruction, it feels like it kind of consolidates the web page as a web page. Maybe that's what I want to say.
If the instructions appear.
Yeah, because then you see that, oh, there's a message. The page is saying something to me. And instead of like the idea that you said about disrupting or like making a mess or something, then it becomes no longer a web page in a sense, because it's not what you expect as a medium.
But maybe we could try. What if we add like to what we have something like, I think I would like to put some text or, but something that is that doesn't have to be related with anything, you know? That, I mean, what I found interesting from the idea of these actions is in a way that is other people who are building this thing together, like without knowing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a bit, like sour or salty. I don't know what it is. But let's not think about adding the database thing, because this is too much of a development, and I think it's over engineering. Like we can do something easier.
Wait, but what I was trying to say is, if we have so no, maybe just get out. I'm trying to get out of that. Just more thinking, because the idea of this is that this is like the public chat. So we are then
Yeah, sorry.
but then so then if what we're trying to do is, so I'm interested in that, so that the people have the user have somehow more than just entertain the person for a moment, that the person has the best practices, it goes that the message somehow goes right. That's the idea somehow, that what
Yeah.
we do.
But like, for
Yeah.
example, like we can think in a different way, like maybe we just make a hashtag and be like, add something that you can post on Instagram or Twitter, something like that, instead of making the system by ourselves to hijack something. Because I just feel, like, okay, I'm not gonna say it again, but I think the right way, not just for this project actually, is to like have less code. Like because I can say, okay, let's make a database, let's make this and that, and I think it will not be an interesting experience for the user to like I like to code to be honest, but like when we want to make something nice, it's not, we spend more time on something else, and if we cheat, often it's actually better. That's just from my experience, but
Yeah.
so maybe like hijack something, if you have a hashtag, and then if there's something that you want to share, then people might share. And why, I don't know, but I think that's also the thing. Like, it's nice that one of your friends sent you the screenshot, right? Like you sent me the screenshot, and that was nice, because
But that could be nice, like for instance, like I don't think necessarily we need to like record the videos of, but it could be nice if you can just take a screenshot and just share it somewhere. Like what if one thing is just taking a screenshot and it creates a page, from all the people who are doing that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have mixed feeling about. I don't know why. I don't want to be overly like critical, but like this is like, of course I thought about, you know, taking screenshot or like snapshot, but then at the same time I don't want to make this experience as a photo booth or Instagram filter.
Yeah.
That's different. But I totally agree that there should be something that people can contribute, like
Take out
being
of
like
it,
part
right?
of it. Yeah.
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 Something that people can take out of it.
Yeah.
Something where everybody in a way can see together, like they're part of one thing.
But maybe
Or
it's just about making a tool, you know, like this installation, not just, you know, one time you have fun, but it somehow becomes a tool that people can use. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but
yeah, I think like they will be pushing too much. Like if it becomes naturally like that.
yeah. But then, you know, like also this time, like we don't have to have everything for this installation. I
True.
mean, this is just a first thing, and I guess, yeah, I think we should prioritize something, and that, yeah, like the first thing we're talking about, like disrupting the interface or like having a queer conversation. That's something that we can.
Wait, but this is something. What if that? Because I think I like the idea that there's some text that comes from time to time. So what
Yeah,
if what if from the interest that we have, perhaps we can take text from queer
hybrid
thing
document where
or
we have
the things like that we have,
we
things
have
that
we
we
have
have, and
you know, a lot of material.
yeah, and then just from time to time there is almost like wait, I have like two ideas. One is like is almost like a banner, like a carousel, you know, like a carousel JavaScript that is passing, like something that is, you know, like a carousel, like this thing that is, it just shows, and then the next one.
Okay.
Or the other one that is just not really, it's more like random in time, like when it
Mm.
happens, you know, there is not really a clear interval, but it just
Mm.
appears from time to time, and there is some text. Yeah, I think I kind of like that idea that just we put some text from time. I think that could work, and also as a promotion, you know, I mean,
Mm.
it's just if it's things from that we have greeting, and um, we can use material that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it could be interesting. Yeah, from time to time to see. And
Out
then the
of
intention of that somehow is like that disturbs.
mm. I still want to explore a bit, like, you know, something happens when people don't do anything, or maybe like even we have like dummy buttons that doesn't do anything, and then, you know, or like it doesn't show anything at first, you know, it looks like broken, and then you have to wait for something to happen, because that gives like, you know, I'm just thinking about how people attend to the computer, which we want to break, and how can we do that. And the one can be the text, but also what if we try to create design and interaction, but still it's not, you know, it's not something that people don't get it. Maybe some people don't get it, but if we have a few people get it, I think it's good.
So wait, so I'm trying to take the conversation out again, like, but so do we need, like in the practice, in general, do we need to have, so the design is necessary in the practice, in installation, in this case, for instance, like to have some
Yeah.
design
Yeah.
is relevant.
I mean, as you said, even if there's no design, we have to make sure that there's no design.
So it has to be designed. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's because like working working with the interfaces with web development is because it's so concrete that, like, if you think, for instance, in poetry, that the words, like, there is so much space to not, yeah, what I'm trying to say is, like, with working with interfaces, and it's the same that I was trying to say with what Joanna is doing, or working with typography, or I think design, is that the layers in a way are so well defined, or how to say this, yeah, I don't know, I think that,
Let's see something. I'm just started to think like maybe this is relevant, although it's really bad.
yes.
Share. Okay, here we go. So this is the Reddit. Oh wait. Which, okay, it shows my name, but I mean it's okay. So this has this is a subreddit about bad UI. People make bad UIs, like for this one, for example. What? Oh shit. Oh, okay. So
what
you
is
throw
it?
something. So you set these parameters of physics, and
Yeah.
then it will shoot something in this canvas. And where it's landed is the key it's going to type. And it's adding the username here. It's typing actually.
It's true, it's typing it.
I mean, this kind of thing. This is really, it's not really usable. I mean,
Maybe show
it's
our next one, because
yeah.
I think it's not so.
Uh, what is this? Oh, okay. So it's just showing random clocks, like clocks at random time, and the one highlighted is at the actual time. I don't know if you get
Okay.
it. What is this? Eh?
I like the one under it says, like, idea mouse can only move diagonally. That's like that. I like this idea, like something like that,
What?
because of the
Two?
brokenness, right?
Yeah, two text. I don't know what it is. Oh wow. So it's kind of funny.
Your keyboard
What is this?
magnified.
Okay. Learn the code. Okay. So you set the passcode, but why is it magnify? I don't get it. Okay.
Not
Oh.
alcoholic IPA keyboard.
Eh? I think IPA is the one for the pronunciation or something. I don't know. Is it typing with the sound players? I have no idea.
No keyboard.
Oh wow. Okay. Eh? Oh, okay. So I think this is a classic, like you have like slider that is like really big number and you have to like adjust like really tiny bit to make the same number or something.
With the slider.
Yeah, like I think some of the like kind of popular ones are like you have the date from, I don't know, 1900 until today, and this is like mapped to one slider and you have to choose your birthday, something like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's subreddit about like these like, you know, stupid examples. I mean, of course they intentionally make it. What? There's captcha that you have to defeat. Yeah. So I mean, it's, you know, often it's just stupid. I mean, yeah, this is really stupid. Like you have to choose from like really huge list. But it's interesting, you know, exactly what we talked about, I think. I mean, not
Yeah,
the same way, but
it seems to me that is, but it comes from a reference point again, like
yeah, because you have the expectation of how things work.
exactly. Yeah. So, but you need that reference point. So in our case, for instance, like we speak like the glitches, this kind of thing, that's not a reference point. That's something that the people cannot relate.
Right. It's very specific. So that's something we want to introduce through what people we have in common.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think will be nice also like then to take some text and to put some text. And doesn't necessarily have to be like we can try different ways to put the text. Doesn't have to be,
you know, this dyslexia website.
No.
This is really funny. Like it's just speaking about glitch with text. So I can't find it. Damn. JavaScript. So basically, there's like a attempt to make. Oh yeah, this one. Share screen. Dyslexia. Yeah. So basically, it's saying dyslexia would look like this. Like if you have dyslexia, the text would look like this, and that's why you cannot spell. Anyways.
Yeah, what I like is the you can spend hours like with that.
Yeah. So like what, like we can think about text and from what we do, so it's already connected, but also like, you know, can we add one layer that like with just with the text we can do something about glitch?
Yeah.
Like this one.
Yeah. What I think is interesting from the text is always that the text is very concrete, no? Like a text will be always concrete, so it will bring the person down to something that is very down.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So what's the next step? I think we have interesting things and we just need to think how we work.
I think will be interesting if we put just few sentences like in a document, in a shared document. Then we put different text, and I will say like it doesn't have to be necessary. I mean, mix between from things that are related somehow, text that we have greeting somehow, or in relation to what we do, so around the same topics. But also could be my cat went to the toilet, or I mean, could be not related whatsoever. I would suggest that they are these two non-related sentences that are from these two topics, from the practice.
How we do in the practice.
Exactly, absolutely, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just completely, then you'd put up sentences of what happened with Formula One and all the drama yesterday.
Yeah, that's why I'm really tired. Anyways.
Yeah, because yours. When did you went to sleep then?
Like 5 a.m.
No
That was
way,
really long.
really?
That was crazy.
Really?
Yes.
What time did you wake up then?
Like 9. I don't know. I wanted to sleep longer, but I couldn't. Anyways.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I understand. You're tired. Yeah. Well, you told me, but what was it? Because I checked, I thought that somebody died or something, you know. So I
No,
checked.
it's just a drama, like political drama. Anyway, like you know, someone pushed me out, and then they talk to the sporting director, and then they have to decide who has got the penalty and stuff. Like it was like all about this for the whole race. It's really bullshit.
Wait, so I would propose that we do the shared sentences like a table document. I'll just make it and then share the link to you. But I'll just do it now.
Yeah, that'll be nice so that I can work on it later.
Hybrid.
And I'll just add that to the page somehow. Yeah. I think it just comes random.
Just put it somehow, like, and then we talk in the way how you put it, like, so put it somehow.
Yeah.
You can decide how you put it, and then we come back in how you put it. But for now, then just we collect this. This will be fun. This is fun to do. Like, I like to do this, like,
you know what,
crazy things, and then we have to put it together somehow. We have to clean them up somehow.
Yeah. You know what? Like, this is exactly the best practice API.
Exactly, because all this had to become features somehow. Like, even though we are not,
and also, you know, like practically speaking, like we make text and then somehow it's something that the web page can take it. And that's
or
API.
not, but no, and anyway, we can reuse it. It could be features
sure,
that are,
of course,
they're not implemented, are part of the API, right? Yeah, that's true.
Cool. What else before I go to sleep?
Wait, I'm just drive. No. So this actually, so I guess, is this a chat?
like this whole thing?
But I mean, what I'm trying to reflect somehow is that new Google Sheets, JSON text. I guess this is somehow text. I call it text, JSON text. Yes. How do I move this? Oh, yeah.
Maybe can we cut the chat here? I think anyways we will upload it because we kind of started like that, so it's nice. I think
this is very strange. It's difficult to not speak about like this installation. I was trying to not talk about somehow, but it's difficult to not speak.
Well, like, I think it's good, you know. It's just another episode.
I think the difference in somehow is like when we have the chats before these topics, we don't have a clear reference, you know, like.
Or we don't have the goal.
We don't have exactly, like, yeah. So it becomes more political or more around, but it is not that clear where it has to go. But now there is really concrete. It has to go to an installation, an interface that other people have to interpret somehow. Yeah, I guess, yeah. All right. Okay, yeah, let's cut here and then just we finish this.
Thanks for watching, and
I'm
I
very,
check
very,
out my
very
tutorials too.
Yeah, by the way, I checked your first, like yesterday I checked for the first time your first from the web.
Yeah, the
Nice.
latest one I uploaded like now is I made a to-do app with Hydra.
But is it number 3 or number 4?
It's a number 4, the latest one. Like I just did it now.
Like, but this thing of this status thing, is it like you manipulate? I mean, I haven't watched it, but so this status thing allow you to then you work with HTML tags from the JavaScript?
I mean, yeah, like basically it converts the HTML, like how you write HTML as a string in JavaScript, and it will take it and then generate DOM from that.
As you will do appending to the DOM.
It's the same with React or other frameworks.
Okay. Anyway, so thank you. Thank you very much to watch this. If you watched, this has been such a weird chat.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a part of the archive. After all.
Yes. Follow up.
Yeah.
Ciao.